Hi everyone, welcome back to Healthy with Nicole. I'm Nicole Carter and I healed myself from ulcerative colitis 7 years ago, and I'm here to help you with your digestive issues. And really, they're not that hard to fix is what I'm finding. But in today's video, I wanted to talk about what I am seeing lately in a lot of the people that are getting coaching with me. And it may be surprising because I think there's a lot of people that are still trying to go the carnivore route. But a lot of people are running up against these other issues that they're finding with insulin resistance and low energy and things like that. So I'm definitely trying to be sensitive to the fact that the people that reach out to me have really poor digestion, among other issues. And I definitely understand that it's really hard to eat not carnivore when you can't digest anything. And so my goal is to help you to find a starting place with your diet and build from there. And that's typically what we do. And everybody's a little bit different. But I am seeing a trend lately, and it's more, I would say, with the female population than males. But there's two groups of people that come to me. And one is the group of people that have eaten horrifically for a while. I've had people that eat pretty much anything from like a drugstore or a gas station. I had one person that was eating gas station food for a couple years. That's it. That's all he could find. That's all he had access to, unfortunately. So it does happen. And then I have this other sect of people that are super health conscious and I would say even orthorexic maybe for some people. And what they do is they eat mostly plant foods and mostly vegetables and are eating way too low of calories. And these people typically have problems sleeping. If they're women, they have their cycles are a mess. They have terrible PMS. And in addition to all of the massive digestive problems, they may not sleep very well. They have low energy during the day. They have to have their coffee. Otherwise, they can't function. And so this is just way too common among the people out there, and especially women. And that's why I'm doing all this work lately, talking about what I'm doing with my diet, because I think I fell into that trap. And when I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I actually had been vegan for many years. And but I was doing that very same thing. No sugar, I ate very little fruit. I focused on mostly vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, raw vegetables. I also tried to avoid most starch and carbohydrate, and that's why. And I thought that was the healthiest thing. And little did I know, I was way underfed. I was essentially starving myself, exercising, teaching fitness classes, doing a lot of activity on like 1,200 calories a day. And at that time, I ran, I surfed, I taught Pilates and bar, and I did all these things on oftentimes a fasted workout. So I'd get up in the morning, have some tea, and off I'd go for the day and do all these things, and then come home around, midday and finally feed myself a spinach and strawberry smoothie. So, I mean, that's realistically with almond milk. So I think all that really torched my gut and also set me up for insulin resistance, and which I still have and have had more intensely since doing carnivore diet. My last A1C was 5.9. And so this is what I'm seeing with people, and they may be cutting back their glucose, but they are ultimately under eating, focusing on vegetables, and having a lot of problems. And so I think this could be a real sticking point for people. And I say women especially because, one, that's what I'm seeing, but women typically are trying much harder to reach an aesthetic that they want or they think other people want of them. I think that's misguided too. But I think a lot of women who are heterosexual think that men want a stick, skinny body, and so that's what they strive for. Or they want a ripped, muscular body, which women tend to love these days. And I don't think that many men actually want that. So I think it's our own warped perception of what we feel like we should look like. But that is really causing a lot of problems with people in their gut health and in their overall health. So I'd like to just kind of help establish a baseline for people that are falling into that trap. So if you feel like you're falling into that, you're mostly eating vegetables, you're under 1,500 calories a day, or even under 1,800 calories, honestly, but you're counting calories, you're restricting calories, you're using caffeine to get through your day because you're exhausted, and you are trying to be plant-based and mostly vegetables. That is going to cause a lot of problems, whether in the short term or the long term. So what I'd like to do is get people over the fear of carbohydrates, for one, and more specifically, over the fear of sugar, because sugar is helpful to your gut. There is actually a study that sugar cane is anti-inflammatory, not inflammatory, which most people will say. I think I have a chicken in the house all of a sudden. There she is. You can see her right there in the background. Okay, Shirley, don't poop in the house. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Anyway, so this is what I'm seeing. I really want to help women not be afraid of, and men too, but not be afraid of carbohydrates for aesthetic reasons. You need them, and you will be much better off with them so long as you eat the ones that you can digest. And if you have massive digestive problems, like most of my viewers do, and quite honestly, I think most people do in general, don't realize it, then you can't be relying on vegetables as your source of carbohydrates. They are carbohydrates, but they're really hard to break down, and they actually don't provide many calories. That's why people are eating them. They're trying to follow like a low calorie density diet where they're bulking in their food to feel full, but ultimately, not getting enough nourishment. And by the way, you actually don't get that much vitamin and minerals from broccoli and cauliflower and these kind of things because they are harder to assimilate. If you can't break it down, these leafy greens and kale and things like that, we don't have the rumen to break down these fibrous foods. That's why I like milk. Milk doesn't really require any digestion. I've had another client recently today even that told me he couldn't digest anything. And he finally found a version of his milk where he lives in the country that he lives in. He had to try a number of different kinds, but he found a milk that worked for him and he's doing great on it. So it really is different for each person. We are the same physiologically. Our physiology as a human is the same, but your tolerance is going to depend on where you are with your gut health. If you're having bleeding stools, you're going to have to cut the fiber out for a little while and maybe a long time, like me. But you should be able to, and you do want to eventually add that back in. And I don't have any problem with vegetables once you're healthy, but just keep in mind that they are the hardest thing to eat. They will limit your ability to eat enough calories, which will affect your overall physiology, which will affect your ability to sleep well, to function during the day, to perform, to have the right hormones set up. All these things are super important. And I'm sorry, but you just have to have carbs to do that. And it's so important that if you don't feed yourself carbs, your body will break itself down to make them. And then you have a cascade of stress hormones going on that send you in all kinds of other problems. So that is what I'm seeing lately. I'm sure you're not shocked because this is the trend right now, but I'd like to do what I can to help you, anyone that's watching that is falling into that trap, to get out of it. So check out my website. I've got some free guides there that you can download and some for purchase, as well as my coaching sessions are also on my website. And I also have my books on Amazon about healing ulcerative colitis, 2 books now. My recent book is How I Stayed Ulcerative Colitis Free, Not Being on a Carnivore Diet, and then my original book of my whole story of when I came down with it and my life and all that. So a lot to say there, but I would like to hear from you if you know how many calories you're eating in a day, if you're tracking, and what they are, and to challenge you to eat a little more and see if you don't feel better. And just don't worry about the aesthetics; those will come along in due time. But comment below, and I'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you in the next video.